Hey, welcome back to iGo to Dingo World, you guys. We're on to Chapter 3, Part 2 now. And I made a mistake in my last video by saying we were on to Chapter 1. But yeah, we're on to Chapter 3, Part 2. Yeah. So, here we go. I'm starting the timer now. Okay. The speedometer again began its descent. They were suddenly right back to it was still illegal but comfortable 75 miles per hour. It was the lowest speed they had gone the entire trip thus far. I don't care who started it. I am finishing it. Yes, Mother, groaned Freddie with a roll of his eyes. Sam smirked at this. Forcing false annoyance into her tone, she tried to cover up her amusement. Sheesh, Carls, why you gotta be so bossy? Carly sighed as she lay back against the upholstery. She was the only one who had seen Sam smirk, and she was the only one who saw Freddie's smile after Sam's mocking statement had been given. The brunette grinned as she let her eyes drift close, allowing herself to relax for at least this serene portion of the car ride. How long would it take her friends to figure out what she herself already knew? As Carly napped peacefully, normalcy took hold of the car. Spencer went on improving random and one might even say trivial skills, whilst also completing nonsensical and strange tasks. And Sam and Freddie, of course, bickered, though nothing amounted to the intensity of their last argument. Freddie let Sam win every fight she put up so as to not disturb the sleeping Carly, as well as endanger the lives of everyone within the red, slightly cramped sports vehicle. During the silences, everyone had their own ponderings, while the brunette mother-like figure was still away in dreamland. Sam wondered if the food in Florida would be just as good or better than that of which they ate in Seattle. It better be, she thought, what with the money it cost them to stay there. But then she remembered that the vacation had been a gift, and her expectations were momentarily off-put. That is, until she switched to the rationalization that she was still paying for gas money. She was still paying for something, so it better be worth it. Spencer pondered what his next sculpture would be of, and would be made out of. For some odd reason that no one could really explain, his mind stumbled upon blue cheese. But he wasn't sure if his sculpture was to be of blue cheese, or just made out of blue cheese. These were pivotal details that he would have to work out later. Luckily, they still had days left on the road, in which he would be able to be left to think about this, give or take the time it would take Sam and Freddie to argue and disrupt his thoughts. Freddie, however, was thinking about slightly more important things. He thought about the chip that he now knew rested in his brain. He was well past the horror that his mother would do such a thing to him, her only son, and chalked it up to the true reason behind her actions. She was simply overbearing and overprotective. For some reason, the technical producer easily accepted the idea. No, what he had been thinking about was how to throw his mother off his trail so that he and his friends could remain uncaught by the terrifying Mrs. Benson. The thought of brain surgery to get the chip removed made the boy shudder. But then, an idea floated to the mounting pile of images in his mind. If he couldn't remove the chip, he would just have to make another one. And what would he do with it? Another part of his brain seemed to question. Would he capture some poor tourist and implant the device into their brain, as was done to him as a child? He frowned. No. And why was he having thoughts like this? They made him out to be some sort of mad scientist. Silently, he glared to the front of the car, where he knew such morbid thoughts had to have been radiating from. With a roll of his eyes, he kicked the driver's seat with no intention of really starting any sort of fight. No fight was started, as Freddie wished. It was over far too fast for anything to come of it. After the kick was delivered to her chair, Sam leaned back, eyes never straying from the road, and she punched him hard on the inside of his upper arm. After the quick confrontation, both their minds were swept back to their previous trains of thought. He wouldn't have to implant the chip inside someone else's brain, thought Freddie as his eyes rolled again, the idea now sounding completely ludicrous. All he would have to do is toss the chip into someone's bag or something else that would cause it to move enough that it would throw his mother off their trail. He knew how his mother would think. If she saw that Freddie was supposedly in two places at once, she would immediately panic. thinking the device was faulty and give up on it. Of course, she'd then think of a new way to find her son, but that would be enough to at least buy them a couple of days' time. Freddie grinned at his genius for thinking up such a plan. His eyes unconsciously lifted to Sam's rearview mirror. She must have been looking back at him, because as soon as their eyes met, hers rolled. Her look transfigured into her normal bored expression that she wore usually when delivering what she playfully called Freddie pessimism. "It's not going to work, Benson," her gaze seemed to say. And Freddie, much to his displeasure, found himself agreeing with the blonde's wordless statement. How was he to build such a chip? He was sure that if he tried hard enough, he would find the proper equipment that he would need, but that was hardly the issue. The issue was time. Would he have enough of said element to be able to dish out his master plan? The answer was uncertain, and that was why Fredward Benson retrieved a pencil and paper from the bag at his side and began working out the beginning details of said plan. Spencer had too dozed off into slumber at the point Sam decided to comment on Freddie's behavior. "Oh, what the heck, dipwad?" she asked, a scop never fully making its way out of her throat. "Your nerdiness even transcends the sanctum of my car?" The tech producer glared as his eyes lifted from the page. "You know what transcends even means?" "Do you know what shut your face means?" she bit back. So Freddie returned to his work on the page in front of him. He was just at the point where he figured out that he had to use his laptop to make a copy of the signal the chip in his brain was giving off in order to be able to create a new one of the same frequency. Sam frowned. Casting fleeting glances at her other sleeping carmates, she asked, "What's up, Benson?" Freddie's face rose to her mirror once more, even though her eyes were on the road and not him. His eyebrows arched as he gave a shake of his head. "What do you mean?" "You just quiet up? Just like that?" asked Sam, sounding strangely hurt. "You told me to," the tech producer answered in confusion. He wasn't sure just what Sam was expecting from him. "Yeah, but you're not supposed to just do it," she said as if it were obvious. The frown she wore deepened. "Fight back, Freddie." The fact that she used his actual preferred name instead of an insulting nickname was surprising enough. But Freddie still didn't fully understand what was going on. "Why do you want me to fight with you?" he asked with another shake of his head. Did she get the same adrenaline rush that he did whenever they argued? Did she feel more alive during one of their spats than she did at any other point in her life, like he did? But Sam didn't answer. Though she did hear him. She just wasn't exactly sure of the answer herself. Why did she want him to fight with her? Freddie wasn't completely out of the clear, though. She knew that if she were the one who had posed the question to him, had the opportunity ever presented itself, that he would be just as blank as her. No, blank wasn't the right word. She had reasons, just none she could put to words. So it was more like a rainbow being refracted through a prism and turned blank. It was the medium for which to express herself that left her empty, not the questions asked. It was dark by the time that Carly woke up. She didn't verbally question the silence that floated through the car, but inwardly she wondered what she had missed with what she thought was merely a short nap. The quiet wasn't uncomfortable, but it wasn't warm and cheerful either. There were truly no words to describe it. What had transpired in the time of the sun setting that would cause this sort of atmosphere to form, she wondered. Hold on, just checking the timer. Oh, yeah. She wondered. Oh, yeah. Sighing, she leaned her head upon her elbow on the windowsill and gazed out of the window. For some odd reason, she found herself not wanting to disrupt the silence of the car. If anything, she knew it would be clear by morning. But some time into her daydreaming and stargazing, the brunette heard a yawn come from the seat next to her. If Sam had had some sugar in her, she was sure to be able to stay awake all night. But that would have required stopping for more than 30 seconds in order to take out her luggage and retrieve a package of fat cakes. Sam had stated the night before the trip that no stops were to be made that were over 30 seconds long unless they were bathroom breaks, and the problem couldn't simply be remedied with a jar or gas Phillips. The blonde had claimed to want to get the trip over with and out of the way, as soon as possible. But Carly knew that deep down. Ooh, my gosh, we're gonna have to go into a third part this time. Let me just finish this sentence. But Carly knew that deep down, Sam was just as excited to be going to Dingo World as she was. And now we'll continue on to part 3. Alright, see you guys later.